Hey there, audio friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking AirPod Pros. I've got the new Gen 3 here. I've got my old Gen 2 here. I've been using the Gen 2 for like a year. Loved these things. Picked them up for like 150 bucks on Black Friday. Thought they were fantastic. So when the Gen 3s rolled around, I thought maybe I'll bite the bullet at full price and give them a shot and see how they do. So I'm gonna cut to a quick unboxing and then we're gonna dive into these things and see what the difference are and see if the new ones justify an upgrade.
My turn, Rabbit.
Nope, not your turn. Daddy's turn.
My turn. Daddy, my turn. My turn. My turn. Get out, Dad. Get off.
Okay, so first impressions out of the box. I feel like the build quality of the Gen 2s is better. You know, the case feels more solid. I feel like it's got a better hinge on it. I feel like you can just hear the difference, like listen to the difference of these things. New one, old one. You hear how the old one's like a little bit deader sounding, like the new ones feel just kind of like a little hollow, like it's cheaper plastic, like not as dense as the Gen 2s. And I think that same build quality stuff goes over to the pods themselves. I feel like the Gen 2s feel more solid. The Gen 3s feel a little bit lighter, a little bit cheaper to my hand. When we just start talking about like comfort and fit, I feel like I do get like a better seal with these guys. Like I do feel like the Gen 3 seal real well. But I don't find them as comfortable as the Gen 2s. For me, the Gen 2s are more comfortable, and I kind of like the position that they sit in my ear a little bit better. Even if they don't seal quite as good, I still think they seal good. So for me, both the feel of the case and the pods themselves and the fit of the pods themselves, I prefer the Gen 2 over the new ones. So let's start talking about like some of the technical things. So if you're here, like just a quick I think I can sum this up pretty fast for you before I dive into the details, right? If you're here for audio, I think there's a bigger discussion to be had about whether the Gen 3 is right for you or worth an upgrade. If you're here for just the new tech stuff, like if you're here for the heartbeat sensor, and if you're here for the better noise canceling, and if you're here for that kind of stuff, the Gen 3s definitely on those fronts are way, way better. Like they are impressive when it comes to the technology and the ANC and stuff like that, and I found them to surpass the Gen 2s on kind of all those things. But when we start talking about actually like listening to things and using them on a day-to-day basis, I feel like it becomes a little bit blurrier as far as whether the Gen 3s are worth an upgrade. I've already mentioned that I don't think the build is as good on the Gen 3s. When we start talking about sound, I personally find the Gen 2s to sound better than the Gen 3s as well. Now, the Gen 3s certainly have more bass. They certainly have more sparkle, but I find the mids to be a little scooped out. I feel like they do have a better sense of space and just sound kind of bigger in general. But I feel like all that is kind of at the cost of like a cohesiveness of the sound. Part of what I really loved about the Gen 2 AirPod Pros was just that they have a very balanced, kind of neutral tuning that is more in line with kind of like what I would consider to be like an audiophile tuning, a little more natural, whereas I feel like the Gen 3s are a little more emphasis, more bass, more sparkle, right? They're trying to be a little more exciting, which for me, I feel like they lose kind of the natural, more balanced presentation that the Gen 2s had. So I personally prefer the audio coming out of the Gen 2s. Now, I also feel like the Gen 2s, though, you know, they don't, when you switch between modes, there's a bit more of a difference between the sound quality, which it always takes me like a little bit to like readjust. I didn't find the differences as huge on the Gen 3s when you switch from like transparency mode to noise canceling. Oh, which by the way, transparency mode on the Gen 3s as well. Again, all this techie stuff, the transparency mode is phenomenal on the Gen 3s. And I thought it was phenomenal on the Gen 2s. So even though I still feel like the Gen 2s have great noise canceling and a great transparency mode, like better than most things on the market that I've tried, the Gen 3s are better on both those things. But again, when it comes down to just pure audio quality, I feel like the Gen 2s are better. So audio quality and build quality, I put them on the Gen 2s. And then like, again, kind of the technology stuff, the Gen 3s are better. I guess here's the camp that I'm in personally is like, I'm still very happy with the Gen 2 AirPod Pros. I do not think the Gen 3s are worth the upgrade for me. Matter of fact, like those tech things, like I don't even care about them because the AirPod Pros, because the Gen 2s still do those things so well that like any improvements are just minor for me when I don't use those features all that much, you know what I mean? Like I just don't care. I'd rather have the fit that I prefer, I'd rather have the better build quality, and I'd rather have the audio experience that I prefer. So I'm left here feeling like Apple took a couple steps forward in some regards, but they also took a couple steps back. I think it's an interesting choice to change kind of the tuning of them. I feel like the tuning of the Gen 2s was really, really good. So I think they made a misstep in going in a different direction on the Gen 3s. And I certainly can tell the build quality differences. Now, you know, the world is changing since the Gen 2s were announced. I don't know how many years ago was that. They've been on the market for several years now. So I understand that maybe, you know, the world's a different place and materials are more expensive and manufacturing is more expensive. So they probably had to cut some corners somewhere. But to me, I still feel like the Gen 2s are the better product all around for me in my preferences. But again, I don't really care about having the latest and greatest with those tech things. I just want some good, very useful, very functional, very comfortable earbuds that I can use, you know, wherever I go, and the Gen 2 still fit that need for me without having to spend more money. So I guess I'm in the position here where I would almost guide you to a Gen 2 instead of the Gen 3, unless you really like a lot of bass and a lot of sparkle and you really care about those latest tech features. I feel like the Gen 2s are still a fantastic product, and you'll probably be able to get them really cheap now. Now, will you still be able to buy them new? I don't know. I would caution you on buying refurbished ones from anywhere but Apple, because I know that people put, you know, they don't put OEM parts in them when they refurbish them sometimes. So that's something that you got to be careful for if you're looking for them refurbished or on the used market or things like that. But you know, if you can get a pair of Gen 2s for like $100 new or refurbished from Apple, I think these are still a phenomenal buy, and that's what I prefer. So my Gen 3s are going back. I can't justify $250 for these. And I think, you know, if you're on the fence here deciding if you should upgrade, you know, if you're happy with your Gen 2s, I don't think you're getting that much more here. And if you're looking to buy new, again, I'm not sure these are $250 are worth it if you can find a set of Gen 2s somewhere for a good price. So thanks for watching. Hope that helps. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop those down below. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video.